Alright guys, WBR at you guys again. Okay, we're just gonna go right into the hot topic. Golden State lost another game, guys.
Another game?
Hey man,
What do you mean? That's the third loss. How can you say another game? That's
man, this is a 33% increase in their loss column. This is big news.
This is like such a rare occasion. Come on, we can't just say another loss. But okay, yeah,
another one. Anyways, yeah. So they lost to Denver today in the nail biter. They're down 9 with a minute to go. They're making a huge run. They're down. They caught up to 2 with a big 3 from Klay Thompson. Then they got the possession back. Curry wanted to take the game and win it. And then with Gallinari on him, he does a couple of dribbles, loses it. And then the rest is history. A couple free throws. A missed free throw by Gallinari to give him a chance. Klay Thompson misses the 3. Ball game.
Oh, man. I don't even know where to start with this. But we should probably get to our first question, our first topic. The question is, how valuable is Draymond Green? Because as we all know, he wasn't playing today. He's been the focal point of their defense, but a lot to do with their offense as well. He leads the league in triple doubles.
Yeah,
that's
he's
a big thing.
He's the playmaker of the team. He's the heart and soul.
He is. So the question is, how valuable is Draymond Green? I'll go first actually, because I just want to go.
You got a lot to say?
I have a lot to say. I want to go straight into this. He is not as valuable as everybody thinks he is. I'm just going to be the first one to just drop the bomb right here. I feel like a lot of guys who are kind of similar to his size and play style can make just as much impact as Draymond Green. The reason why they were having so much trouble today was because he just hasn't been in their lineup this one game. He always plays with them. When Curry was out, they do like the first game, they kind of screwed up. They didn't know what to do. But then the next game, they started getting it together. They're just not used to him not playing. It has nothing to do with him being the focal point or being such a good player. It's just that because he's not there, they have to change a little bit of how they play. That's why they had a lot of trouble this game on the road against Denver, who they underestimated.
Wrong. Okay, without Draymond Green,
yeah,
this team is a completely different team. Different team. I will give you that his assist and scoring of the season is inflated because he passes to such amazing shooters. But he's the center point of their offense. He's the playmaker. And then tell me another guy who's 6'6", playing the 5 spot and getting that many boards and guarding all the big men.
Well, I could name a few, to be quite honest with you. Like Jimmy Butler, first of all, that's like...
He's a 2 guard. He's not guarding any 5s.
Of course he is. He can guard 5s easily. He just doesn't, but he can.
He's a
Paul
high
George, but yeah.
No, he's a high motor guy, okay, and he sets the pace for this team. He's a huge benefactor of like the Curry double team, and he just gets wide open threes. But hey, he makes those threes. He gets keyboards. He gets big stops.
They double team Curry, and then Draymond gets the ball, and then so many players in the league could do that position to get all those assists or free shots.
No, he's...
I bet... Okay.
You're underestimating his basketball IQ. He's a great playmaker.
Yeah, but on defense, I'll give you that. I think he's one of the best defenders. But the thing is, on offense, you can do that. They double-team Curry, and then they pass to, like, Boris Diaw. He'll make just as good of a play as Draymond Green would. Like, on the offensive side of the ball. It's just that he benefits from those 4-on-3s. And as much as he's valuable to his team, he's not as valuable as people are making him seem because he's replaceable in a way that his team is just rigged and he's the beneficiary of it.
On paper, he might be replaceable, but he has those intangibles that you can't replace. Such as the high motor, the hustle, the hard work.
Yeah.
He has an aura out to him, energy that makes the players around him better.
So is he better than Klay Thompson then? Overall? Because that's the way you're leaning towards it. That's the way I see you're leaning towards this topic. Klay Thompson is actually worse than Draymond Green.
No, man, it's a team effort. It's a team game.
Man, come on, they're the most rigged team I've seen in like the last decade, man. I'm telling you right now.
And him included. He's a piece of the
He's
rigness.
a piece of the team, but he's not like a chunk of the team. I'll tell you.
Curry's the chunk of the team.
Klay Thompson is better than Draymond Green. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, but their rules are completely different.
They are.
Their rules are completely different. You have either Bogut or Draymond himself. They anchor the center. Then you have positions 2 to 4. They can just switch on everything. Amazing defense. And they hide Curry's defensive deficiencies.
Yeah.
And they just have amazing team defense.
But my take of this is that the reason why they lost is twofold. Because they underestimated Denver, and Denver was playing great. But the most important thing is they're just not used to it. Draymond Green, they're used to playing with him every single game. He's not the type of guy to miss games. Curry is, sort of. Klay Thompson a lot. Harrison Barnes has been out for a while. But the fact that Draymond Green plays majority of the games that he was out, which was a rare occasion, that's why, to me, they just weren't up to par in terms of the chemistry and everything.
In terms of chemistry, and they looked like they had a lack of energy out there. And they definitely did underestimate Denver, who played amazing today, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gallinari, Will Barton, and Arthur, they were just hitting huge clutch shots to, get the game out of reach. Gallinari had a poor shooting night, but he kept getting to the cup.
Yeah.
Didn't miss many free throws. Mind you, he missed that one to make it a 2-point game at the very end of the game. But before that, he only missed one for the entire game. Will Barton was hitting threes out of his mind.
Yeah.
And then Arthur was just hitting mid-range, just clutch. Everybody's performing.
I'm definitely going to give them a lot of props. Denver has been giving a lot of teams trouble, actually, especially Golden State this year. But to me, the takeaway of this for myself is that we're rushing to a little bit of a conclusion, or that's what I think. Tomorrow they're not going to be playing with Draymond Green again. We're going to see how they gel a little bit better. Yeah. And I think they will. I think they're going to destroy
But I mean,
the Lakers.
This 1-point game, like, if you didn't watch the game, people might misconstrue that, like, it was a lot tighter than it was. Other than if Curry didn't just go off in the fourth, he had 20-plus points in the fourth. If he didn't go off, it would have been, like, not a blowout, but it would have been, like, a 10, 12-point loss.
Yeah.
And then it would, like, everybody would be talking about it more, I feel
especially.
Like.
But what if they won the game? What if Klay Thompson scored that three?
Then it's, like, more of the same. They pulled off so many of these clutch,
then it's like, see, they don't even need Draymond
Green.
That's what people would say. They're like, oh, we don't need Draymond Green. We can win this game.
No, it's like, it would have been what people would expect it, because they chose to rest Draymond for 2 games leading up to their bigger game, because they're going to play the Cavs again.
Yeah, that's fair.
But, I mean, because of that move, they lost.
Okay. So, yeah, that's the way I'm looking at this.
Okay. So, how much... I know it was Curry who brought them to, a winnable margin.
Yeah.
But that one huge turnover, when he had Gallinari on him, it seemed like he was having... Because it was clear he wanted a 3 to go for the win.
Yeah.
But then he was having trouble with a defender who's a lot taller, more lanky, with decent foot speed to keep up with all his, like, crosses and fakes.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of dribbled it off his foot hand kind of thing. Gallinari dives for the ball. Mm-hmm. And then... So it's like, that doesn't happen often, but, like, do you put this game on Curry? Yeah.
You know what? I absolutely do not, because the thing is, I'm a huge Curry critic. I've known to be, but I'm not gonna put this on him whatsoever. He had 38 points, 9 assists. He's dropping threes all day long, especially in the fourth quarter, having those 20 points, right? But just because he got that turnover at the end, I'm not gonna put the game on him. It was only because of him they even had a chance near the end. I'm not gonna put. You know what? I'm gonna give 0%.
0%.
I'm gonna give 0% reason why they lost the game. You know what?
I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna give him at least some blame.
Okay.
Because he wanted the go-ahead game winner, and then he was trying to do all these moves to shake Gallinari. He could have went for the safe play, because prior to that, because he's been shooting threes terribly this game, he just kept getting into the cup doing layups.
Yeah.
It was a layup drill for him on the fourth. If he did more of the same, they might have went to overtime. And there's no doubt in my mind, if they went into overtime, Golden State comes out with a victory there.
Yeah.
But he wanted, some of that Kyrie Irving, some of that glory, so because he wants, to be known like he's got ice in his veins, he can do this, he can end the game. But because of that decision, I think in the long run it costed them this win.
But
this potential win.
To me, that last play is not as blamable as the fact that the whole team went into Denver, took them lightly, and they lost without Draymond Green, which kind of sends a message. That to me, I give Curry more criticism than that one possession itself. That's what I mean.
Yeah, what I'm talking about for that one possession is his decision to want to end the game.
I thought it was the right decision.
In the fourth, what he was doing well and what brought them, to a potential tie or whatever, was going to attacking the paint, getting layups or doing mid ranges.
But when he was doing that dribbling thing, I didn't sense a lack of confidence or anything.
It wasn't a lack of confidence, but then it was just...
To me, it was like...
I think it's misjudgment. But
you know what?
It's hard to say if he hit it, then it's okay, he's the MVP, blah, 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 right?
If they play that same thing a million times, I don't mind him doing that. You know, I don't think he's going to turn it over as much as he's not going to turn it over.
It's a rarity, but, that's why I asked how much of it is to blame, right? Because these types of things, because they're usually blowout wins, right? It's like, we don't get to dissect or discuss these kind of things. Because, everybody gives LeBron so much trouble about, why did he pass to the wide open guy who missed the shot? He needs to take the shot. Okay? Because Curry wanted to take the shot, but I think he made the wrong decision in wanting to shoot a three instead of going for the tie.
No, I definitely see that. Absolutely. But since we're on kind of that topic here, Curry, Golden State,
the losses.
The question is, though, I know we discussed this earlier in the year. Will they still beat the 72-10 Bulls world record? So far, they have 3 losses right now, and they have, I think, 33 wins, is it? So they're pretty much still on pace to break it.
Yeah.
But will they? That's the question.
I'm going to go out and just say they're not going to break the 72-10.
Okay.
Okay, sure, they're on pace, right? But I think it's a detriment to them if they really try to chase this record too hard.
In terms of health?
In terms of health, say it's towards the end of the season,
and
they decide to not rest players because they want to chase this, who cares about this accolade if you don't win a ring, right?
Yeah.
It's so there's that. Also, their upcoming schedule in January, it's a lot tougher than a lot of their schedule they had so far. They got some tough teams coming up. They got Cleveland. They're going to play the Spurs. They're going to play Detroit, Indiana, Dallas. These guys are no slouches. I think any one of those 6 teams and Chicago. Any one of those 6 teams can give them a run for their money. And this is just January. There's still a lot of basketball to be played. Let's just say they take 1 loss out of those 6 games, right?
Yeah.
It's very possible.
Easily possible.
And that's their 4th game. They only got 6 lives left. 6 lives left.
Yeah.
Actually, no, 5 because they want to beat the record, right?
Yeah.
And more than tie.
So they need 73
I just think
9.
it's so hard to beat that record.
So your ultimate answer?
They're not going to beat that. They're not going to beat the record because I thought it was easier for the Bulls to obtain this record.
Yeah.
Because they had nothing really to. Well, they had something to compare it to, but they set the bar so high, right?
Yeah.
That they're the Golden State Warriors are trying to chase this bar. I think it's ultimately gonna lead. If they keep obsessing over it, it's gonna lead to their downfall and come in the playoffs.
Right. Okay. I see. I see your point. So earlier in the year, I said that Golden State's gonna go 41-0 at home. So far, they're undefeated at home. I think it's about 18 games. And I'm going to stick with it. They're going to go 41-0 at home. And if they do that, that's what I'm assuming, I'm predicting actually, they're going to break the 72-10 Bulls record. They're going to go exactly 73-9. They're going to lose 9 games on the road, but win 41 games at home. That's exactly what's going to happen. And you know what? They dismantle teams by more than 10, usually every game. Today was one of those rarities. They underestimated Denver, but as of right now, I'm still going to stick with it. 73-9 is going to be their record at the end of the season, including 41-0 at home. That's MFA's prediction right there.
So you're telling me in the month of January, they're going to beat the Spurs at home.
Yep, at home.
But what are you telling me for when they play the Cavs in Quicken Loans Arena?
Which is pretty soon. That's pretty soon.
They're going to play the Lakers first, then they're going to play Detroit. Then they get a day's rest. They're going to fly over to Cleveland. They're going to play Cavs at Cleveland on the 18th.
Let's fast forward. It's January 18th right now.
Yep.
And I happen to predict that Cleveland wins in Quicken Loans Arena, Cleveland, Ohio. I still stick with the fact that I'm believing they're going to go 73-10 or 73-9 strictly because they're not going to lose a game at home. That's what I think. And if they don't lose a game at home, no way they're going to be losing
I think
more than
it's
9
super
total
possible.
games.
Just in the month of January, they could lose to Indiana home potentially.
They could
lose to Spurs.
Of course they can.
That's a big.
Yeah, that's probably the most. That's the biggest one actually.
Yeah, but then there's Dallas as well.
Yeah,
those are 3 losable games. I'll take that 1 and 3. That's already 2 losses, right? That's gonna be 5 losses.
I don't see it. When those days come, it's gonna be good. We'll have our predictions ready.
That's gonna be 5 losses, and here's the thing. So now they have the 3rd loss, right?
Yeah.
Let's say they lose to the Cavs hypothetically.
Yeah.
That's their 4th loss. Guess what? Spurs are only 2 games behind them for the 1st seed. So I think a lot of pressure is mounting up for them because nobody's talking about the Spurs. They're just flying under the radar, but they're actually right there. Like the 1st and 2nd seed are not as far apart as a lot of people think.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, because it does lead into our next question. So since we're talking about Cleveland, but we're talking about the Spurs, we're talking about Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
So what we want to do right now is rank the top 3 teams in the NBA right now.
Currently, yeah.
Yeah, not based on records.
Not East, not West.
No.
1, 2, 3.
What is your rank for the top 3 teams in the NBA right now?
Okay.
Not
right
including
now.
records.
Not including
Just
records.
who is better
Who's
right now?
the best team?
Yeah, starting from 3.
Starting from 3.
Yeah.
Number 3 is the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay.
Number 2, Golden State Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, Spurs. It's that simple.
Is it that simple, huh? I'm gonna have to completely disagree with this. I'm gonna keep the Cleveland at 3.
Okay.
But I think they're barely 3rd.
Okay.
I think they could definitely be up there. I'm gonna go number 2. Number 2 is the Spurs.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go number 1 with the Golden State Warriors because you know what? I've been going against Golden State, but when you watch them play,
Yeah.
they absolutely destroy teams on both the offensive and defensive end. I know the Spurs kind of do the similar thing as well, but the fact that Curry can literally play like 1-on-3 at times
Right.
is what changes the game. Because the Spurs, you see they play all this good offense, they keep moving the ball around. Kawhi Leonard's playing like out of his mind, so is Aldridge and all them, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that one man can just score over 20 points in 1 quarter makes their offense that much more dynamic than the Spurs. If stuff is not going well, the play broke down after a timeout and they kind of screwed it up, you go to that one player and he could open up everything for everybody. Kawhi Leonard, yeah, he could probably do similar things, but not in the way that Curry does. And that's what separates them to me. Because in terms of defense, I give them both about kind of similar.
Because for me, the way I see it, there's 2 factors, 2.5 factors why the Spurs are better than the Golden State Warriors right now.
Okay.
Number 1, Kawhi Leonard. They can throw him on Curry. He's going to give him a world of trouble. Curry's still going to get his, but he's going to get worked. But if you've been watching Spurs, man,
I'll confess that I don't watch them as much as I watch Golden State, but okay.
He has a case for most improved. He's not going to, right? But if you watch the game, because nobody talks about Spurs, nobody cares.
What if Curry gets most improved? Okay, that's a whole other thing.
No, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah,
so they can throw Curry on. They can throw Kawhi Leonard onto Curry.
Yeah.
And then 2, Golden State Warrior lives and dies by the 3.
Yeah.
The way the Spurs play, they don't. They play great basketball. So
the Spurs,
say in a series, right?
Yeah.
For whatever reason, Golden State goes on a shooting slump. They're gonna have a hard time to win that series.
Golden State Warriors don't live and die by the 3. They live and they live by the 3. And
look what happened tonight though. They had a slight shooting slump. They weren't shooting their usual percentages, and they had a hard time in Denver.
If that team wasn't Denver, if it was a more difficult opponent, I think they would have won that game easily. They just underestimated them. They didn't have Draymond Green, so they kind of screwed around.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I saw. If they're playing a better team, if it was Cleveland, they would have given it their all. Perhaps take the game on the road.
We'll agree to disagree on that one. And my half factor is the Spurs factor. How they're just pulling up these no-name players and just making them into studs. Jonathan Simmons. Okay, I know a lot of you guys don't know this guy's name.
I know Ben Simmons. I don't know. This Jonathan Simmons guy.
You don't know this guy? The Spurs pull him out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And this guy's playing well. As a bench
big props to the GM.
The GM and Popovich.
Popovich,
just putting so much confidence in these players. This guy, and then the half man, half giant Boban. It's they got some secret weapons in the bench that are gonna come up big.
Yeah.
So I think both of them, they have a very deep team, but everybody it's dissecting and seeing what Golden State does, but nobody pays attention to Spurs. I think that's their X factor. Nobody pays attention to them. They got some secret weapons, And LaMarcus Aldridge is really, really gelling in the system more each game.
I'm surprised actually because to me he seemed like kind of a selfish player. He's really embracing his role in San Antonio. But the key thing for me, to your point, is that they do have the best margin of like net rating. So I think it's about plus 12.
They're blowing teams out.
It's,
it's like plus 14 points.
Is it about
something,
there?
Something like
that.
Yeah,
they definitely have the number one. But to me, this is the way I look at it in a 7-game series. Who's going to have home court advantage? The way I see it, Golden State's going to have home court advantage.
But I was saying earlier, if they lose one or two, it's like it's going to be neck and neck.
That's true.
So you can't just automatically assume they're going to have
I'm giving, the benefit of the doubt that they're going to have home court advantage in the playoffs. And if they have home court advantage in the playoffs, both of them haven't lost at home. They're combined about 40-0.
40-0, maybe
they're
more.
about 40-0 right now at home, both of them combined. Assuming, of course, if they go head-to-head, they're the type of team, each of them, that could win on the road against this team.
No, but home court is going to be huge.
It's going to be huge. That one extra game, if it goes to Game 7, that's going to be the difference. And to me, it's going to be played in Golden State. Therefore, Golden State's going to win. That's why I put them ahead of the Spurs. It's despite what everybody's talking about right now, the official power rankings on ESPN, that they got
but like currently, like this is the first time that they're seeing some kind of adversity, the Golden State Warriors. They got, Harrison Barnes had their slight injury. He's still coming back. They're still without their head coach.
Right.
Curry has, his shin contusion, so he's not fully 100%.
There is a lot to be said.
Well, Draymond's resting. Like, he could be more tired, or he might be secretly injured. Like, without us knowing, right? They're just saying he's resting him 2 games, which is pretty unusual, right?
Yeah.
That they're resting,
especially for Draymond. Yeah,
because nobody's talking about the Spurs. They're flying under the radar, but there's a huge target on Golden State's back, and they're finally starting to face some adversity. And I think it's gonna take a toll on them.
So another team that's kind of in that top 3, both of our top 3. So we got Spurs, Golden State, and Caps, not in that order. The Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right, Thursday, they are going to be playing inside San Antonio, and they are.
That's a huge game.
That's a huge game. It's going to be on TNT, TSN, ESPN,
TSN
wherever you
2,
live.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Everything, right? So the Cleveland Cavaliers are 5.5-point underdogs.
Yeah.
On the road in San Antonio. So based on this spread, who do you got? 5.5 points Spurs. Do you think that's overvalued, or is it undervalued? Do you think they're going to be winning by more or less, or do you think Cavs got this?
I think that's the spread is about right. But let me say one thing. Like, the Cavs are coming. Like, I don't know if they're going to win this game, but they're a completely different squad with Kyrie Irving. Like, I know he's still shaking off the rust, but if you watch that Dallas game
last night,
oh my goodness, the value he gives to this team, they're a completely different team.
And then the one thing I notice as well, I've always been as well a critic of Kyrie Irving. You notice LeBron's confidence more when Kyrie Irving is next to him, or
because you know how they all he gets so much flack for passing the ball to wide open shooters.
Yeah,
I don't mind if he passes the ball to Kyrie Irving. This guy's clutch.
He is. Last night's game, LeBron, he took it to the rack and absolutely posterized whoever it was under the hoop.
Right.
I feel like
Devin Harris.
I feel like his confidence is just so much more with Kyrie Irving, and then at the end in overtime, where
Kevin Love was impressive too.
In the overtime too, right? He was pretty good, and then Kyrie Irving bombed that huge 3 to put the game away. Essentially,
the team is really gelling, right? But because you asked the top 3 right now, I just don't think they're at the level that a Golden State or Spurs is at currently. But
if you take a top 3 players,
but
either of the teams.
The
Cleveland has the best 3.
No, their chemistry is going up.
Yeah.
They're playing better and better. Like, they can get to that level.
Yeah.
But just at the moment, I don't believe they're at that level, which is why I think the Spurs are going to take that game.
Take the game. Not only that, they're going to cover the spread as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here's the thing. If you take the top 3 players on all those 3 teams right now, the Cleveland has the best 3 players. Like, that's the way I look at it. You can make an argument for either of the other teams, Kawhi Leonard, Aldridge and Duncan type of thing, but to me, just purely on talent, I got the Cleveland Cavaliers just because of LeBron and Kyrie, right? But in terms of their chemistry and the rest of the team, that's where the Spurs and Golden State have the edge. But in terms of tomorrow's game, which is 5.5-point favorites for the Spurs, this is gonna be a little bit of a curveball to everybody. I think the Spurs are actually undervalued here. I think the spread should be more than 5.5, based on what I'm seeing right now. Of course, Cleveland played amazing last night and they took the game in overtime. I'm actually going to give the Spurs about 7.5. I'm going to add 2 more points on the spread. I think it should be 7.5 points Spurs favorite, with the Cavs covering the spread. Like, I know that sounds really confusing, but to me, if this gets played a million times, the final score will be Spurs 7.5 points ahead. I really do. I think this is undervalued just because a lot of people are going to be betting on Cleveland. That's why the spread dropped, right? Mm-hmm. But as for the game itself, I really want to go with Cleveland here. You know what I mean? I really want to say that.
The reason why I'm not is the role players for both teams, if I compared them.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is not talent. The biggest thing is discipline. And they obviously have the Popovich factor, right?
Yeah.
But guys like Shumpert, guys like Deladova or J.R. Smith, those kind of guys, these role players, they have shooting slumps and bad games way more often than the role players of, say, a Spurs or a Golden State.
Right.
And I think that's sheerly on discipline.
Yeah,
discipline.
I see
like
what you mean.
Shumpert, Deli, like they're like mediocre shooters at best, and they need these guys to stretch the floor, right? Shumpert's a great defender, but like he's somewhat of an offensive liability.
Yeah, I agree. Can't even dribble the ball.
He plays well for the type of player he is, right?
And his price.
Yeah. So he's a good bargain, but like at the end of the day, he's still only Matthew Deladova.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So in terms of tomorrow's game, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. I think Cleveland, especially the way they've been playing, I'm gonna say they're gonna take tomorrow's game in San Antonio, because I think the pressure is gonna be on San Antonio and not on Cleveland.
There is no pressure on San Antonio. Nobody pays attention to San Antonio.
This is the one game of the year that everybody is gonna have their eyes on them.
100%.
Like, just everyone's gonna be watching this game.
Yeah, but I have no doubt Spurs will be ready, because Popovich is just gonna prime them. I think for this one game.
I think the difference in pressure from their first like 35-ish games, or compared to this game, is going to be such a big difference that I feel like a lot of their players are going to be shook, especially LaMarcus Aldridge. He's not used to being in these big games on this team yet, and I think that's going to have a big toll on tomorrow's game. So to me, because Cleveland, I actually don't see a lot of pressure on them. I usually feel the pressure. I'm a big LeBron fan. I can kind of sense this stuff. There's not that much pressure on them.
Yeah.
So they're going into San Antonio, which hasn't lost a game at home in over 20 games.
But I'll say this though, if the Cavs do win this game, it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be a huge turning point where they're just gonna go on a huge run. They're really gonna mesh as a team, and they're gonna be scary if they win this game.
And Cleveland is really, really good on the road against elite teams, like in playoff atmosphere type games, or like LeBron especially. That's basically what I'm leaning at. He is extremely good on the road against elite teams in playoff scenarios. He really is. Last year, he took Golden State game 1 to overtime. Should have probably won that game too. He had the chance. He had the ball in his hands with the game tied. They took game 2 with Kevin Love out and Kyrie out.
I don't know.
I think they got this tomorrow,
But I mean, if Kyrie is like, you can still see he's not 100% yet.
Yeah.
They still kind of restrict his minutes. He's shaking off the rust.
And
I just feel it's bad timing. He's just not quite ready for a game of this magnitude.
I will remind you, last year, Kyrie Irving against the Spurs.
Oh man, that was a game of the year.
Yeah, he went for 58. He scored like 3 after 3 after 3.
Was that in?
I think that was in San Antonio, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure that was on the road. Because that was huge. He scored the game-tying shot at the end of regulation, just destroyed everybody. They were down by like 10 or something, or like 6 with a couple of seconds left, or a couple of minutes. You know what? I'm going to go with Cleveland Cavaliers win tomorrow in San Antonio. The first loss at home for San Antonio. And, put Cleveland kind of back on the map,
Hey, I mean...
LeBron James, MFA, I got you.
Fair enough, man.
I got you.
All right, guys, WBR out.
Yeah.